with another video, another special. It's not necessarily a good morning drive, but I'm going to wish you guys a good morning. This is a Giants special. I'm not too sure if much of views. Uh, Probably I should do this, every once in a while when it comes to the Knicks. When something special or perplexing happens, something very perplexing happened last night. I'm perplexed. I don't know what to think. Um, Last night was an interesting night. Of course, you should know it was the NFL draft last night, and my team skipped out on a quarterback to trade back in the first round to get a quarterback. If quarterbacks are good, they always go in the top 10 or perceived as good. They always go into the top 10. Now, of course, you have your outliers. You have Mahomes. You have um, uh, Tom Brady. You have a lot of quarterbacks that don't go in the first round and end up being really good players. However, when the draft class is not littered with quarterbacks and it's a weak class in general, um, maybe they are that way for a reason. And I don't know. I just think that what the Giants did last night didn't make any sense. It still doesn't make any sense to me. So they took Abdul Carter in the first round. At least he produced. At least he has a very high ceiling. But then I saw another edge rusher. I think selected by what team? Maybe. Dang, I can't. Was it Washington? No, it wasn't Washington. I forgot the team. I forgot the team that selected this young man. But he looks like a edge rusher that the Giants needed because they kept on putting up run stopping plays and highlights. I'm like, that's exactly what the Giants need. And he could pass rush because he's an edge rusher. So I'm like, that's exactly what the Giants need. I would have put him at defensive tackle edge or whatever next to Dexter Lawrence. And then you have Kayvon coming on the outside. You have two rushers on one side or Burns on one side, whatever. Hey, guys, thank you for coming through. I definitely appreciate you. Please hit that like, subscribe if it's the first time to the channel. I got all types of content coming at you. I'm thinking I might live stream Saturday. I'm not too sure. I play games with my boys, and it's a fun time most of the time, or all the time, really. And I'm thinking that maybe I should live stream just to have some content out there. But yeah, Elijah, what's going on? Good morning to you. Hello to you, and good morning. Yeah, so the Giants, they picked up Abdul Carter. And I'm not saying he's going to be a bad player, but what I am saying is he doesn't fit what the Giants want to do. What the Giants want to do is play 3-4 and rush. But you still have Kayvon and you still have Brian Burns. 2, 3, 4 outside linebackers whom are a little too light and they kind of get pushed around a little bit in the run game. They didn't pick up a defensive tackle, and that's going to lead me to my second point. We didn't pick up a defensive tackle, and we kind of kissed, unless we could trade back into the second round, which I doubt, we're not going to have a chance to get a defensive tackle that's going to be worth anything or that's going to help out. We messed that up by trading back into the first round to get a second or third round caliber quarterback. When at least at the beginning of the draft, Shedeur was projected to be first round, right? Shedeur Sanders was projected to be in the first round. Instead, we go get somebody whom they're taking a shot at. I want to see more film on Jackson Dart. I want to see exactly how he thinks. I don't want to see highlights. I want to see actual games with Jackson Dart. I want to see how he plays, what type of player is he mentally. It just seems to me they are desperate and they just had to get a quarterback in the first round. It's like they were almost forced, or maybe they just believe in Jackson Dart so much. I don't understand why you would trade your second round pick, your third round pick, and a future first round pick to get back into the first round when you have so many holes, so many glaring weaknesses as the Giants have. Again, like I said, we need interior players. We need offensive guards. We need an offensive tackle, right? Just for depth, a swing tackle. We need defensive tackles to play alongside of Dexter Lawrence. We need a backup nose tackle so that when Dexter Lawrence exits the game, takes a break, or he gets hurt, we have proper depth at that position. And to do that, just to get a quarterback, which more than likely won't play this year, it befuddles me. It perplexes me. It confuses me as a Giants fan. It makes absolutely no sense. It really doesn't. We have so many holes, so many glaring weaknesses on this team. I mean, you don't go 3-12 or 3-13, basically 2 seasons in a row, because you're almost there. You almost got a good team, a really good team. No, you do that when your team is ass. When your starters aren't playing at a starting level for the most part, and you are very subpar, right? Or don't even have enough depth to be anywhere near close to starting. You got other teams out there. You have other teams out there that their backups could be our starters. What does that tell you about our starters? So I don't understand the draft that the Giants. I don't understand the actions that they did. We're screwed. Oh, we're screwed. I hope I'm wrong. You know, I'm a Giants fan. I want my team to win. And just because they don't do what I wanted them to do, that doesn't mean that I think that, you know, I'm going to think negatively. But it just didn't make sense to trade back into the first round, waste all that draft capital on a quarterback that, let's face it, you might get fired this year. And he's not going to play. He's not going to play this year unless only how he plays this year. That means you are 1-5. If you're 1-5 as Dable and Joe Shane, that's telling me you're getting fired anyway. So what's the point of going crazy and drafting this quarterback? It makes no sense. It makes no sense of what they done. It don't make any sense. And then I see these color commentators or these YouTube commentators, Giants commentators. I'm about to look at a video right now just to break down what is so good about Jackson Dart, right? Besides, you know, going to Ole Miss, such as Eli Manning. What's so good about this young man? You know, Elise Shador. I'm sorry, Elise Shador had, you know, he didn't have a great team, yet he still produced pretty good numbers, right? Of course, he had weaknesses, but so does Jackson Dart. You're talking about two quarterbacks that's around the same caliber. You didn't have to trade. Wait. Let me slow it down. Let me slow it down. What did Shedeur do that was so bad where if Jackson Dart was drafted ahead of you, because in the second round he was going to make it to the second round regardless. None of the teams that were going to pick that had draft picks were going to draft a quarterback. None of them, because they all had quarterbacks and they all had backups that they like. So in the next round, the Browns had first pick. The Browns didn't pick a quarterback in the first round. So who or why would you think that Jackson Dart was going to be picked by the Browns? Like, what did Shedeur do that was so bad? Junior, what's going on? Good morning to you, bro. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for coming through this live stream. Please hit that like. Hit that subscribe if it's the first time to the channel. Your boy got all types of content coming at you, but please hit that like. Christian, what's going on, man? I didn't see your comment. Good morning. The Giants were high enough in the second round. They could have easily have got Jackson Dart. My whole point. That's my whole point. It perplexes me. They were picking second in the second round, right after the Browns. So why trade all that capital away to get this guy when his level of play, I think, was worse than Shedeur? Yet, you know, the so-called experts are saying that he was, they're like similar in skill. They're similar in skill. You know, they both have flaws. They both have some upside, but I think Shedeur's upside is way higher than Jackson Dart. Why wouldn't you draft the guy? Or why don't you just wait and see? Why don't you just wait and see what happens? And if Jackson Dart got drafted by the Browns, then you go out there and get Shedeur. I don't understand. What did Shedeur do that was so off-putting that he would get passed up by all these teams, number one, that need quarterbacks, like the Saints, the Raiders? What did Shedeur do? And for the Giants to be so desperate, so extremely desperate to jump in front of the Browns, to draft Jackson Dart. Did they think that the Browns are going to draft Jackson Dart? And again, what did Shedeur do that was just so bad, so off-putting? No, we cannot draft him. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand. Does Jackson Dart have a better arm than Shedeur? I also heard Shedeur didn't have a good attitude in interviews and didn't participate in the combine. Just rubbed teams the wrong way. I understand that. I understand. Well, somebody has to tell me what was the part of the bad interview. I don't understand what did he say that was that bad, where you're giving up that much, where you're giving up that much capital to get a quarterback, because if you don't get that quarterback, you are SOL. So what did Shedeur do that was that bad? I don't understand it. I am confused. As a Giants fan, I don't remember a draft that was this confusing. There were drafts that were bad for sure, but a draft that was this bad, I don't get it. Did they do private workouts? Did they do private workouts for Jackson Dart? They had so many workouts and scouts at Shedeur. What did Shedeur do? Did they ask him to run a 40 just to get a number? I mean, he still said no in a private workout. Uh, did he not perform well in private workouts? I, I am confused. I don't know. I need to see. I need to know something because this is confusing as hell. And the media has been out for Shador. Even independent media has been out for Shador since he left college. Right? So many people. Oh no, not Shador, not Shador. No, no, no. He's terrible. He's this. He's that. It didn't show up on the football field. You know, he had one bad comment or one somewhat bad comment about his offensive line. Um, and, you know, like the guy isn't allowed to be realistic. His offensive line stunk in college football. Your offensive line is terrible. You know, so you're not allowed to say that they played bad. I don't get it. I don't get it. I guess maybe that's just, you know, all this PC football stuff I just don't like. You know, after losses and press conferences, I don't even look at these press conferences anymore with these coaches and GMs because everybody just gives a PC answer. No one is actually honest, and not being honest and being superficial and giving these PC answers, political football correct answers during these press conference. You're doing the right thing. No, it's not. That's why y'all asses suck. That's why your team suck because there's not enough accountability. If a unit or if a player's ass and plays like crap, hey, say that. This person didn't play that well. We need him to do better. You know, that's why these teams, these organizations, they stay terrible because they don't. There's not enough accountability, and that's what I hear. What goes on with the Giants is there's not enough accountability during practices. There's not enough accountability for the head coach. Well, you know, these guys are going to get fired. You know, he's going to have to clean house. You know, and then Murr, he's right there, right next to Joe Shane. Joe Shane is sitting down, not looking exactly too happy, right? And Brian Dable, his delusional self sometimes is like really happy. He's like, yes, we got the guy I want. I'm like, okay, but is he even going to play? You can't be signing Russell Wilson to a 1-year deal and not even play the guy, right? Russell Wilson is the better quarterback. You have to play him, right? I think Brian Dable is really going to push for Jackson Dart to play day one. How he's reacting. And with that being said, again, I'm going to make the same point again. Hold on, Christian. I'm going to make the same point again. If you're fired, Jackson Dart won't play a down after this season if he stinks it up. You know, have I changed my stance on Abdul Carter? No, not really. I haven't because my stance on Abdul Carter is him individually as a player. I'm sure he's a good player, but our defense, good defenses aren't built off of one player in the NFL, right? In the NBA, only because you have 5 players on the court. Yeah, if you have one really good defender, that's going to help out a lot. But if you have 2 good defenders, you're good. In football, you can have 3 good defenders on the defense, and if everybody else is ass, you are going to get taken advantage of as a defense. You have to have, out of the 11 players, you got to have at least 8 good, solid defenders just to be an okay defense, right? You got it. Defense and offense is a well-oiled machine when it comes to football. Every player has to be accountable and do their assignment well to be a good unit, to be a good defense. And that's why I say Abdul Carter doesn't fit right with the Giants because we only have Dexter Lawrence, right? Then we have backups basically at defensive tackle around him, and then our outside linebackers. Where is Abdul Carter going to play? Because you still have Kayvon Thibodeau and you have Brian Burns on the outside. Is Kayvon coming off the bench now? Is he coming in with the second unit? Is he spelling Abdul Carter? Or is Abdul Carter going to spell Brian Burns? Brian Burns is the better player than Kayvon, right? But not by a large margin, by a bit. So if Abdul Carter is supposed to play edge, where are you going to stick him next to Dexter Lawrence at defensive tackle? He's way too light for that. So unless you're trading Kayvon, where is Abdul Carter going to play? He doesn't fit with the Giants. And if he plays on the outside, we have backup defensive tackles around Dexter Lawrence, right? So where is Abdul Carter going to play? And Abdul Carter is a light person. He's 6'6", at 250 maybe 250, 240, I think. I'm not too sure his weight, right? But I know he's a light player. He's not a heavy player. Defensive tackles and defensive ends or outside linebackers, they're like damn near 300 pounds. 300 pounds. So where is he going to play? He has to play on the outside. You're going to put him back on the inside? You're going to put Abdul Carter back on the inside? And then, okay, we got McFadden and we got Bobby Okereke. Where is Abdul Carter playing? And that's why it's confusing to me that they would draft Abdul Carter, and why these commentators who know more football than I do, they live and breathe football. They know more football than I do. They break down film. They have all this access. Why would you want the Giants to get Abdul Carter? Because a disruptor, okay, but he's a disruptor in a certain system. So no, my stance for Abdul Carter has probably worsened. I understand he could be a game wrecker, but he's a game wrecker if you don't know what he's doing. And he was put into a position where he never played before. And you're talking about college football. College football, they do some film, of course, but if you don't have tackles that are at a certain level, you can't really game plan for that, right? So with that being said, in the NFL, you do have tackles that are fast. You do, because all the best tackles are drafted. You're going to be able to game plan his speed. 6'3", okay, not 6'6", but 6'3", 250. Dog, that is light as hell. That is light for a defensive lineman, outside linebacker, that's light as hell. And the Giants have too many light-in-the-ass players. Thank you, Christian, by the way. Too many light-in-the-ass players for Abdul Carter to really shine, right? You gotta have defensive tackle, defensive end type of players that are going to disrupt along with Dexter Lawrence, to have Abdul Carter play so well. That's how Micah Parsons, if I'm saying his name right, Micah Parsons, the Dallas Cowboys. I'm so upset I can't even think right. But that's how he played so good, because they got good defensive tackles, heavy, fast defensive tackles along with their nose tackle, so that Micah could go literally anywhere and blitz the quarterback and be successful, right? This year it might be a little different. Giants need to do some business with the Bengals for trading. They ain't gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. But yeah, I just don't know what the hell the Giants are doing. I think now I'm starting to think that Joe San and Dable aren't seeing eye to eye, and it's going to be more dysfunction with the Giants. Who would you have rather picked at number 3? Honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have a name, but it was a edge rusher, big dude, big guy. He was drafted in the first round. Dark skinned fella. He's tall as hell too, 6'6". I think he's 6'6", 6'5", something like that. About 280, 290 something. Twitchy guy at his size. I said the Giants should have drafted his ass, and I think, matter of fact, I can't go. Yes, from Georgia. Is he from Georgia or is he from I think it's Mikael Williams. I think that's the guy. Was it him or was it the guy from Michigan State? No, they got all these defensive tackles from Michigan State. They could have drafted one of those guys, one of the defensive tackles. That would have helped out Dexter Lawrence and the defense even more so than I believe Abdul Carter is going to help out. Now, don't get me wrong. I really do hope it pans out. I hope all these moves work. You look at the track record of Joe Schoen and his draft picks, and what Brian Dable wanted him to draft, they don't work. It hasn't worked. The draft picks besides our wide receiver Neighbors and Drew Phillips, Tracy, running back. Who else? Newman is okay. He don't get no interceptions, but he's okay. We don't call a safety's name. That means he's doing okay. And that's it. That's like the best. You want to throw? I don't think Wandell was Wandell. Yeah, Wandell was a pick, but he's a really small guy, Wandell. So like, yeah. It was a defensive end. It was a DE that was drafted, and I can't remember. I can't end the stream, or can I even? If I do that, yeah, I can't even look it up right now. But he was a defensive end that was drafted late in the first round, by maybe the Falcons. I can't remember the team, but I'm looking at him. I'm like, yo, this guy looks good because he's stopping the run, and he's pass rushing. Big dude. And he was a defensive end. So I wouldn't mind if the Giants would have drafted him. Everybody would have been like, who the hell is that? But it would have made sense to the defense. I'm like, okay, that makes sense, right? From Tennessee, it could be him too. It could be him. I'm just saying, it makes no sense, absolutely no sense to draft Jackson Dart to trade back into the first round to get him when him and Shador is almost neck and neck in skill, right? And I guess you want to say that the interviews and whatever went bad, and that's why. If that's the case, you could still have had waited to see if the Browns were going to do anything. Or gave less and went to 32nd pick, the 30th pick, instead of all the. I don't know. That's crazy. That's crazy. I ain't gonna crash out on no damn Giants. My Falcons got Jalon Walker and James Pence Jr. That speed off the edge. I think that's probably the guy I'm talking about. One of those guys, whoever is the edge. That's probably what I'm talking about. So, yeah, kudos to your team. It seems like the Falcons are progressing more than my Giants. My Giants is ass, and it looks like they're going to continue to be ass. You got all these holes on your team that you barely fixed in the offseason with free agency, and you're giving up a second, third, and a first. A second, fourth? It was a lot of draft capital. Man, I'm out of here. Y'all have a good one. I'm just confused at what the Giants did. I don't know. Only time will tell. I hope it works out. Y'all have a great one. Thanks for coming through. Peace. Thanks for the likes, too. I really appreciate you guys.